It's the Ace and TJ Show with a little extra. Uncensored, unedited, and almost uninterrupted. Get ready for the most extra podcast known to man. The Ace and TJ Show presents the Extra Funny Podcast.
We were just talking about in the regular old morning show that about people who walk out on a first date. And then I went to the restroom to rest. What is the worst? What's the worst rejection? To have a first date set up with somebody, and they come, and after a few minutes, they just say, "Hey, this isn't going to work," and they bail, or they didn't show up at all. I almost think I'd rather get stood up than to have them come and then look at me and talk for a minute and go, "You know what? You're not good enough for me," and then leave.
I agree with that.
I agree with you. Yeah.
I think it's still more hurtful if they just don't show up at all.
Really?
Like I made such a non-impression that they didn't even bother texting or calling, just didn't show up.
Yeah, but that way though, if they don't show up, then you still have the possibility that they didn't really know me, they didn't want to get to know me, that sort of thing. But when they get there and they give you a little bit of a test drive, and then they say, "Turn around, we've gone far enough. I don't want this car."
Yeah, and
Take me back.
in this case, you're right.
Yeah.
They've seen you, they've heard you, they've gotten to know you a little bit more and decided, no, not into it.
It's not a win. It's a lose-lose situation, but yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, there's no winning answer. You're right, Rob.
But yeah, I think I would take the just completely stood me up.
Yeah, I would too. At least there's no face-to-face defeat,
Yeah.
rejection, whatever, yeah.
So Riggins, you're the only one that would rather just call it off after a few minutes.
Yeah, it's just like you just think I'm so low that you don't even show up. That's just the most hurtful.
But I wonder if anybody has ever, back in the days when you would pick somebody up for a first date, in a vehicle. If anybody would walk out to the car and then go, "You know what? Never mind. I'm going back in the house."
Oh, man. the blind first date. And they
that would be funny.
open the car door, look at you, and go, no, thanks. Or I guess they would open the door. If it's the first date, you're going to the door.
Yeah, now I have been, fixed up on blind dates when I was young, that I got mad at the person, my friend who fixed us up, because I'm like, what makes you think I would be into this person? It's so far off from what I normally like.
Yeah.
Meaning she was ugly. No, I'm kidding.
Did I ever tell you the story about my mom went out on a first date and didn't like the guy? They had gotten set up by somebody at church, I think it was, and she didn't like the guy. And after the date, she had kind of told him I'm not interested anymore. And he showed up at their house 2 nights later, looking through the window.
What?
No.
Yeah. And my grandfather was a cop at the time, and I guess he had tapped on the glass or something like that, and some sort of altercation happened. But yeah, he just did not take that well.
So he tapped on your mom's window, the glass of your mom's window?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, just did not handle the rejection very well, I guess. But she just immediately was terrified. And
Yeah, and that was back before they were called stalkers.
yeah, I mean, this would have been in the late 60s.
Yeah, that was
early
that,
70s.
He would have been called a peeping Tom.
A peeping Tom. Yeah, I think that's what she called him, a peeping Tom.
Ugh. Then she married a guy named Tom. How about that?
That's true.
Wow, small world.
She had a bunch of crazy dating stories.
Well, I mean, that was in Chicago. Mm-hmm. Well, big city people are crazy. You got to deal with all kinds of stuff like that. I've seen them on TV.
Yeah.
How they act.
Yeah.
Big city people.
Because they lived in the city?
In the suburbs, but in
suburb,
Chicago,
okay.
yeah.
Okay.
But, I thought it would have been safe. Somebody you met, they set them up through their church, they were part of the, the youth group, I'm assuming.
That's a little bit different. But, there was a time. You had no way to get direct contact with people.
Yeah.
Like you couldn't, at 10 o'clock at night or whatever, you couldn't just call their house because their parents wouldn't let them talk or something. Mm-hmm. So if you saw the light on in the room, you might have to go up and tap on the window, hey, come hang out.
Yeah, I was like, why do you think he was like dangerous or something? I mean, you went out on a date, and she goes, no, but it was weird that he would show up at night.
We only ever did it with people that we knew. Like, hey,
Right.
They were cool with the fact that we came up and tapped on the window. They didn't think we were stalking them. Or anything.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that was just a sheer case of not taking no for an answer.
it sounds that way.
I did make a huge mistake one time, and I was kicking myself because a lot of times, whether they're your friend or not, you've got to judge the person that's trying to fix you up with somebody they know as to whether or not you would get along with them. And there was a guy that I worked with at the mill. I don't want to say a whole lot about him in case he listens to our podcast and all. I don't want to hurt his feelings. Well, I guess I've already said too much when I said I worked with him at the mill. But anyway, he was telling me about how hot his wife's little sister is, and we were the same age. She and I were. I think I was about 19. And he just, I'm telling you, let me fix you up with her. Let me fix you up with her. And I thought, I was like, you know what? We probably have a different definition of what is fine. You know, back then we didn't say hot. We said fine. She is fine. We may have a different definition of that, you know? And he only sees me at work at the mill here. So he doesn't see me when I'm, you know, fixed up and out on the town and stuff like that. I mean, in other words, he doesn't know how good looking I am, is what I was thinking. He just sees me all dirty and scroungy and, you know, sweaty and nasty working in this mill. And so I went along with it. I went out to his house one night, had dinner with him and his wife, and the little sister, his wife's little sister, was there. And I know it sounds like I say this all the time, but I was right. It wasn't a good match. But it wasn't like, you know, sometimes when you have that buddy shows up and he's got his girlfriend with him and another friend or something that you didn't know you were being fixed up on a blind date, but you're just expected to hang out with the other one.
Yeah.
That'll mess up a good night at the arcade if it doesn't work out right.
Was he not offended when you were like, we have different definitions?
I never said that to him.
Oh, you
I mean,
didn't
that's
say
what
that.
I'm saying. He's going to be offended now if he
Yeah.
listens to the show.
Hell yeah. So rude, 'cause he's
But
already
I mean,
married.
but no, I'm just saying that he could think that his sister-in-law was really pretty when, you know, because it's his sister-in-law. And then I would just have it just wouldn't mean that she's not pretty, just not pretty to me.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not that you're not pretty. It's just you're not pretty to me.
Oh,
But you're not ugly to me either. So that's something.
I get it now.
Someone else, like your brother-in-law, will find you to be very pretty.
Yes.
He said you were hot, so just keep that in mind.
I think it's so cool to be a good matchmaker for friends and stuff. I think that's a great skill to have.
Mm-hmm.
I've never done it.
Yeah, I've had some pretty good successes.
Have you really?
Yeah. And I mean, how long do they have to stay together and all that before it's considered a success?
As long as it's not a disaster, I think that you know.
Yeah, okay. So if they date for a year or
Yeah,
two,
oh
then that's a
gosh, yeah.
success.
Absolutely.
But it ends up being a nasty breakup at the end.
That's not your fault.
Right. But it was still, you count that as a good match.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, then I'm pretty good at that. Pretty good track record.
Yeah, really?
They had a good year and a half run.
I think sure. That's not my fault
bad.
because you're whatever fell apart. You got a great year out of it.
Yeah, that's because, you know, people used to give my dad crap all the time because, you know, he was a preacher for a while. And it just seemed like every marriage that he performed ended in divorce.
Really?
Yeah. So, you know, he's like, well, I mean, they were together for 5 years. I know that's not a success when you talk about marriage because a success is only, you know, till death do you part, technically. Yeah. But, I mean, you can't look at that as being a jinx, you know, put on them from the preacher. Now, if they got married and got divorced within a few months, then, you know, maybe that was something that he was doing wrong. In somebody's eyes.
Did he coach the couple before they got married? Like when you're a Catholic,
No,
you
I
got to
don't.
have the.
I think maybe one meeting with them and all of that kind of stuff, but not having the the authority to say you shouldn't be getting married at this time and stuff like that. So what if a priest tells a Catholic couple they shouldn't get married?
I don't think they do that. They just kind of guide, like, here are the tools you're going to need as you go through the marriage. I don't think they say you can't do it.
Yeah.
Well, I thought that was the purpose of it, to have the priests, evaluate their relationship.
And maybe it has happened. I just don't know of any specifically.
How long would you consider it to be a successful marriage? Or is it only successful if you go to the end, if you make it all the way?
That's a good question.
I think, well, it depends. Are you looking at it from the worldly terms or from a biblical sense?
Well, a biblical sense, it's all the way.
Yeah.
Till death do you part.
To death do you part.
Because that's what I would say. The successful marriage is death do you part. The other could be described, and you hear people talk about this all the time, is it fell apart. But, we had some good years.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's better to love than lost than never have loved at all.
Yeah.
Thank you, Rob.
So true.
Did you write that, Rob?
I did.
Yeah, no, we had a lot of good years. It just, just didn't work out, to the end.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, I guess in that term, it's a failure. But
Yeah. I mean, that's the way I would look at it. To me, if you didn't make it till death do you part, it was a failure.
yeah,
Now, and a lot of people look at it the other way, that it's never, that wasn't a failure because we had kids together, we had good years together. It didn't fell apart at the end, but that doesn't mean it's a total failure. Which I get. There's a lot to be said for that, I think.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, it'd be like, my mom talking about her the boyfriend she had before she met my dad. His name was Buddy, and she said that about, I wish I should have married Buddy instead of your dad. When they started having problems. And I said, but Mama, if you would have married him, you wouldn't have us, meaning my brother and me. And she goes, yeah, I would. You just have a different daddy.
Yeah. Lighten up.
You'd have been a lot better off.
Now, I think, after a couple of marriages, you could start being a little more frank about it. Like, okay, that was a failure. If you're Larry King or whoever was married 7 times, whoever, it's like, come on, man. That was a failure.
Or somebody who's married and then you marry somebody else and you're married like 6 months and y'all decide this is a bad idea, we break up. Okay, that's a failure.
And this is what I don't understand. When do you reach a number of marriages before you look at it and say, you know what, I don't need to get married again?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that is.
I think 2.
For me, it's 2.
I think 2.
Now, but I would say 2 as well. However, a friend of mine's mom, her 3rd marriage they've been together, what's 85 to today?
38.
Say what, Rob?
38.
38. Mm-hmm. So they've been married now. Her 3rd marriage, they've been married 38 years. Her first marriage lasted about 10 years, I guess, maybe 8 years or so. And then she married a guy. They were only married a couple years. And then she met the guy that she's been married to now for 38 years. That's her 3rd marriage. And it turned out to be, the love of her life, fantastic.
3rd time's the charm.
3rd time's the charm. And they've had a great life together.
Do you count death in that? Is it like it's the same as you would a divorce as far as how many marriages you got?
Unless they did it.
Yeah, I don't.
She didn't. They had 3 husbands die the exact same way.
Yeah.
Little suspicious.
They all died from being poisoned. Hello, maybe you should stop getting married.
Well, yeah, like my ex mother-in-law had her first husband. They were married 17 years. He died. They got married very young. I think they were 15 or 16 when they got married. Then she got remarried, and they were married 17 years, and he died. And then she did marry another guy, but they were only married a couple years, and they divorced. So like she's had 3 marriages, but only 1 divorce in there. That's like 2 husbands died. That's a lot to deal with, But you can't go, well, those 2 marriages failed.
Yeah,
no.
But I mean, because it was death did them part.
Yeah.
Death did part.
Death did them part.
Take my first marriage was roughly 20 years, give or take a little bit here and there. we had 2 great kids, so I guess you can't consider that a failure. But if you look at it the way, the way you're supposed to, the way I think you're supposed to, it was a failure because we didn't stay together until death do us part.
I think we should stop talking about your last marriage.
Do what, Rob?
We need to stop talking about your last marriage before you get in
I
trouble.
can talk about it in general terms like that. I'm good.
But my mom has been married 3 times and divorced once.
2 deaths?
Yeah, she killed the other 2.
Allegedly.
No, she did. I'm just
What
kidding.
what was the order of the divorce and the deaths?
First one. The first one was the divorce.
Was a divorce.
Was
That
it
your
the-
dad?
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Wasn't the last one, though, the really great guy? Wasn't he a really great guy that she was married to?
Yeah, he was cool.
Okay.
He was a good guy, but it was the second one that was the sweetest.
The one that was probably the best of the 3, probably, you think?
In
The second one? In your opinion?
In my opinion,
Yeah.
As far as the best marriage,
Yeah.
I don't know. She was really happy with the third.
The third one? Okay.
Yeah,
How long were they married? The third?
several years, but probably 10 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah. But the second one was just like over the top, nice, good, country guy, like the sweetest. But the other one was more of an intellectual and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So it was like if you combined both of them's both of their great qualities together. The sweet and the kind and the hardworking and all that, and then the intellectual part of the third one. If you combined all of those things, you'd have me. So,
Thus, the reason you and Jody have been married for so long.
Exactly.
Funnier than your average podcast. This is the Extra Funny Podcast, presented by Neogenics. Find out more about Neogenics at acetj.com/neogenics. More Extra Funny podcasts next.
well, here we are, another new year, and you're again going to try to lose that weight you've been needing to lose for a long time. Well, here's what you need. You need Calitrin to help, because Calitrin is not a drug. No, not at all. It is natural and effective. It's scientifically proven to help you lose weight and get better sleep. When you buy 3 months supply of Calitrin, you will get 3 months free right now, and consistency is the key with Calitrin. So order it today at acetj.com/weight loss. It's Calitrin.
All guests of the Ace and TJ show stay at the Hyatt-centric Charlotte South Park. Beautiful rooms, incredible dining options. Book your room by calling 980-299-7123. It's the Hyatt-centric Charlotte South Park. The Johnson Group has been cleaning some of Charlotte's most prestigious businesses since 1985. Family owned and operated. Learn more at acetj.com/clean. It's first-class cleaning with the Johnson Group. Attention Charlotte, treat yourself to a delicious meal that's made with fresh, seasonal ingredients and ready in just 20 minutes. Enjoy a fine dining experience without ever leaving your home. Head over to tableandtwine.com.
Currents is Lake Norman's #1 lifestyle magazine. Every month, Currents brings you the latest news on what's happening in the Lake Norman area. They've been serving the Lake Norman community for over 13 years. See the latest issue of Currents now at lncurrents.com.
Winter is here, which means you're just going to stay inside and not do anything fun and exciting, right? No, that is wrong, because this year you're going to go to acetj.com/Gaston and see all of the incredible things that you can do right now in Gaston County. Everything is laid out for you, from things to do, to restaurants, to bars, to shopping, to unique weekend activities, and we'll get you ready for the spring and the summer with a list of all their great festivals. Find all of this and much more at acetj.com/Gaston. When it comes to your money and things like a cash out refi, you hear a lot of stuff these days. Information is flying around, but here's the bottom line. You want someone you can trust. Well, here is someone that we trust. Richard Toccato and the Richard Toccato Companies. We worked with Richard for years, and you know all the ins and outs, and more importantly, you give everybody options.
That's right. We have a lot of options. This one lady, we just refinanced her house, paid off all of her credit card debts. She even paid her car off. She's saving $1,000 a month. So that really changes her life and her financial well-being.
Yeah.
And she didn't have to make a house payment until 2024. So, there's not a better time to do it is when you need the extra money every month.
They call it cash out. is what we call it in the business.
Cash out.
Cash out.
That's right. Cash out.
So it's one free 5-minute phone call right now, 704-800-4719, 704-800-4719, or go to homewithrichard.com. Do it today. You'll be so glad you did. The Richard Ducato Companies. Should you buy? Should you sell? How do I present my house if I do want to sell it? All of those questions can be answered by the experts, and they can take care of you with the Temple team at Keller Williams Realty. The Temple team knows everything there is to know about selling, marketing, and buying houses. So get in touch with them today at acetj.com/Temple team. The Temple team at Keller Williams Realty.
Neogenics presents the Extra Funny Podcast. Find out more about Neogenics at acetj.com/Neogenics. Now, Ace and TJ.
Yo. What kind of moral, I don't know, moral bankruptcy do you have to be in if your parent dies and then you and your significant other don't tell anybody and keep his body like mummified, so to speak, for 6 years, just so you could collect the retirement benefits and Social Security checks and all that? You got to be like, that's a special kind of loser.
Yeah.
Right. But there's a couple that is accused of doing that. Lynn and Kirk Ritter. They're 61, and they're accused of collecting more than $215,000 in retirement benefits from, I think it was her. Yeah, it was her dad that died, and they said that somebody had tipped them off to it, and they went in the house and found the mummified remains. How you get somebody mummified? Did they do that? Did they go through the process, or are they just saying that the body had been there so long? But no, you got to do something to make it mummified, right? You got to wrap it. And would that be wrapping it in any kind of thing, like a? Could you wrap it in visqueen or something, like
a
thick
sleeping
plastic?
bag, and they're calling it like mummified because it's been wrapped in something.
and it's been wrapped in pretty much airtight in some kind of a plastic or something, where they would roll it and tape it and then roll it the other way and tape it, but just to keep it fresh. You know what I'm saying?
What do they think is going to happen, though, eventually in that scenario?
Well, I guess they would just keep collecting until it ran out. I don't know.
And then
because there's no way you can...
somebody said, that's what I'm saying. There's no at some point you got to go, oh, they died, and then
and they go,
they've been dead.
Mm-hmm. I guess they died from being wrapped in plastic.
Yeah.
I mean, you painted yourself into a pretty good corner there. It's like, I don't know what. Okay.
Yeah. Well, because nobody's going to believe that the parent of a 61-year-old is just going to go missing.
Yeah.
Once she comes forth and says, "Hey, my dad's been missing," if you don't have a body, then they're going to, really start investigating.
Yeah. You really put yourself in a no-win situation there. Maybe you might get away with it for a month or two. No, not even that, because they're gonna you got to report the body dead. They're gonna come get it and say, "Well, this is weird."
They got away with it for 6 years.
I know. Well, they got away with it, but I mean, there's no end in sight. You know what I mean?
Until
it's
they
easy.
die.
It's easy to keep it going, but yeah, I guess you have to just figure someday I'm going to die, so let it ride until I die.
So,
but they're so much older that what are they going to do? I guess it would run out at some point, wouldn't it?
Well, it depends on if it were just Social Security payments. Then I think that would just keep going until you're reported as dead. But if it's a pension, it would run out, right?
You would think.
I know they did. Yeah. They were getting Social Security payments. Here it is. They're accused of spending pension and Social Security.
Okay. Yeah, because Social Security you get as long as you live.
Mm-hmm. Man,
it almost seems like something you hear from a younger person, but they're 55 when they make that decision.
Yeah,
I mean, you're
It'd be, as if my mom died and I said, Jody, we're going to wrap her in Bisqueen and keep getting them payments.
$40,000 a year or whatever that breaks out to. It's like, holy crap.
Well, you got to at least consider that's a lot of money.
Over a long time.
And then you just think about, the fact that it was taking up an entire room of their house that they couldn't use.
Body in there.
How do you keep the smell down?
Well, I guess the way they wrapped it and everything.
Yeah, I think mummifying brings down the stench a little bit, at least.
Yeah. And what is it that they always do on the movies and stuff, where they pour lye on a body to get it to decompose faster and all that?
Like in Breaking Bad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that was ammonium chloride or whatever it's called.
Yeah, I was just about to Google it, but I decided against it. I don't want that in my search history.
I just Googled how to mummify a body. How do you do it? First thing on the list, announce the death.
Yeah, exactly.
It says really step one, announce the death. Well, okay.
And they can always go back and listen to the proof here that nothing sinister was going on.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't even think of that. You got to be just a shitty person to even think of that.
Oh God, yeah.
Now, I wonder if it was her idea. Hey, this is what we need to do with my daddy's body, or his idea, the husband's idea. Say, you know what we need to do with your daddy's body? Let's mummify it and keep getting them payments.
That's what somebody says something about the payments. The way I picture it, and then the husband says, "Well, you know what we could do."
Yeah.
So,
Not telling anybody.
She's like, man, I just got that money, just runs out. Well, what we could do is mummify the body.
Dang, it's in your search history, and now I got a clip of you saying it too.
There you go.
You know how they figured out how long he had been dead?
No.
He had a pacemaker, and the pacemaker showed that they said he was a retired telecommunications employee, and he began receiving the benefits in 2008, though prosecutors say his pacemaker indicated he died in 2016.
Oh my God.
It said the married couple who lived with Carroll in a home he owned in Overland Park, which is a suburb of Kansas City, failed to report his death and continued to collect the funds into his account that were deposited into his account. So they were living with him, his house, and so he died, and that's when they said, well, we're not, I guess they were saying, we can't start working doing stuff now.
But I mean, they probably get the house, right? If they're living there, chances
assume.
are they get the house.
Mm-hmm.
So rather
surely she doesn't have any siblings, or they would be saying, hey, why can't we ever talk to Daddy?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Why are you such a gatekeeper?
Why couldn't they have just taken the house and sold it?
Yeah.
There's money in that for them.
Mm-hmm. But they said that
they got now prison.
Yeah, and the body was lying in a bed. So they were, what do they do if they have company?
So they just wrapped him up and left him in the bed.
For years, extended family members were led to believe Carroll was still alive. Last year, his niece told the Star that the Ritters kept making excuses as to why Mr. Carroll could never take a phone call or visit. Police confirmed to the local TV station that the Ritters were being investigated last year, and the investigation was likely related to fraudulent cashing of a dead person's checks. He'd have wanted us to have them.
Man, but think about that, though. In 6 years, nobody decided, I'm just going over there.
Yeah, that's what I don't get either. It's like, hey, can we speak to Uncle Mike? Oh no, this is not a good time. He can't talk right now. Well, that's the way Gypsy's mom did with Gypsy's dad and all of his side of the family. Every time they would call to talk to Gypsy, she'd tell them, "Oh, you can't come see her. She's doing so well now. You don't want to upset things. She just had another surgery." And he'd call to try to talk to her, and she'd say, "Gypsy can't talk. She's sedated right now," and all of that.
Nobody ever just popped in. Y'all want to go over there and see what's going on?
Yeah, if it's my parents, like I'm like,
or
I'm
an
coming
uncle
over.
or something. Like I'm just going to drive over and check it out, see what's happening.
Yeah. Just if he still had siblings alive, they'd want to go see it. I don't know.
Like nobody ever thought, well, I haven't talked to him in 2 years. I've called every couple of months for 2 years and haven't seen. I'm going over there.
Yeah, that's crazy. Ugh.
You know what that tells me? That his daughter and her husband are probably such weirdos and annoying that people are just like, I don't want to deal with that. Yeah. Bless his heart being stuck over there with those two.
Yeah.
If someone asks, tell them it's more than a little funny. It's extra funny. More of Ace and TJ's Extra Funny podcast coming up.
Bradham Brothers offers heating, air, and electrical installation and service that you can trust. Their family business has served thousands of customers with honesty and a smile for over 50 years. Go to bradhambrothers.com to schedule service or a free estimate today. New year, new you. Kickstart your journey to a healthier lifestyle by joining the Gaston County Family YMCA today. Family-friendly fun, expert trainers, and a welcoming community await. Make 2024 your healthiest year yet. Visit GastonYMCA.org for more info.
If you're so frustrated because you're having to run around all the time, you're so busy, you feel like you're not getting your family something great to eat, then you need Culver's. It's the perfect thing for you. Always made to order, fresh, hot ingredients all day, every day.
And not only do they have the freshest ingredients all day, every day, but they are a part of the community. They're proud to be a part of the Indian Trail community where they're under new ownership. Belmont, University area, Salisbury. Make them a part of your daily routine. Make it your new neighborhood spot. Short waits for the freshest food in town. Get details at acetj.com/Culvers. It's a new year, which means new you. No, not if you've got nagging pain. That means we want old you before you had that pain. And it's possible without surgery, without medication, without downtime. Thanks to Neogenics, Charlotte's most trusted stem cell clinic. I am a Neogenics client. I am a Neogenics lover because they fixed my left wrist. And you can get a free consultation right now. Call 704-727-6551 or online at acetj.com/Neogenics, Neogenics. Great food, great drinks, great service, and great atmosphere. You can find them all at one place. Fahrenheit on South Caldwell in Uptown Charlotte, 21 stories above the city. Get details and make reservations at acetj.com/Fahrenheit.
As a proven leader in managed IT services, CompuCom delivers innovative solutions designed for how you work today. They'll help you deliver results no matter where you are on your digital transformation journey. It's all at CompuCom. Go to CompuCom.com to find out more.
Create an unforgettable experience with the Cabarrus Arena. Learn more at cabarrusarena.com. Weddings, banquets, shows, expos, they do it all at the Cabarrus Arena. Learn more at cabarrusarena.com.
When you need furniture for your house, it can be overwhelming if you don't know what you're doing. That's why the great team of designers they have at Sweet Dreams Mattress and Furniture can help you throughout the process. Whether you're looking for a comfortable mattress, probably the most comfortable you've ever been on, bedroom furniture, living room furniture, it is all fantastic at Sweet Dreams Mattress and Furniture, and that family-owned and operated business can help you like no other. Go to acetj.com/mattress to check them out. acetj.com/mattress for Sweet Dreams Mattress and Furniture. Sounds like a sweet deal to me.
This is the only time Ace and TJ are proud to be a little bit extra. It's the Extra Funny Podcast from the Ace and TJ Show.
You know, usually it's a certain type of person that is asked to sign a waiver before they eat something. You know, it's somebody competing in some sort of eating challenge or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, the hot wings, or I'm gonna try to break the record for eating the most oysters, or stuff like that. It's where your eating is dangerous to you.
Did you have to do that for those wings you did in Vegas?
Yeah, I did.
You had to sign a waiver?
But that was part of a radio thing. I don't see myself going into a restaurant just on personal time and saying, you know what, I bet you I could eat that. And then the person says, well, if you're going to try that, then we're going to have to get you to sign a waiver.
Because it's not enjoyable.
No. But I don't know if everybody has been keeping up with this or not, but Canada has turned into a full-on weenie state.
Yeah.
Their leaders are just whiny Marxists, and they're just sickening. To where they've got all of these rules in place now in Canada where people can't live freely and all. It's not a free country anymore. Canada's not. And I feel sorry for the people who live there, especially the ones that want to remain non-weenie-ish. You know, a lot of Canadians who are rough and tumble, but they're making them weenies with these laws that they have in Canada. But an American tourist was there and he ordered a burger cooked medium at a restaurant and had to sign a waiver for it to be cooked medium because they're such little weenies in Canada.
Come on, man.
Because of if it has to be well done, or else you have to sign a waiver.
All burgers in Canada are supposed to be well done to avoid food poisoning.
So that's a law.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The Canadian people aren't weenies. The people that they vote for are weenies.
But I mean, that's not even just a restaurant
over.
thing. That's a law.
Right.
Wow.
So
Sign a waiver.
For a medium.
yeah,
Can you sign this?
it's not even like
Hell
you're
no.
asking for medium rare or rare ground beef.
They might shoot you if you ask
Yeah.
that.
What's his name? Justin Trudeau. Come in there and just start shooting.
That's crazy.
But I mean, you can still get it done that way. You just got to sign the waiver. What's the big deal?
Oh, Rob. Many an enslaved people ask the question, what's the big deal? Oh, it's a big deal. It's a big deal.
You would hate if they came over to your table and started a conversation and said,
Yeah.
I need you to sign this. You would be like, hell no, I'm never doing that.
It made you sign a waiver so you could eat, chicken critters or something.
I sign a waiver every time I go to an escape room.
Do you really?
Yeah, but that's different.
But that's a different thing, though.
I don't know. Seems the same to me.
Well, aren't you in the dark and all in the escape room and everything?
Not always, but yeah, sometimes.
It's a physical activity that could hurt you. You could break a leg easily.
Fall down.
Yeah.
What if their poor immune systems aren't capable of swallowing a medium burger?
Then if that's how they ordered it, that's on them.
Yeah, but then if it is, it's on them. But if they don't sign the waiver, maybe it's on the restaurant too.
Well,
If they accidentally undercook it or something.
Mm-hmm.
well, if they accidentally undercook it, then that is on the restaurant.
Well, then not if they sign this waiver.
Yeah, if then they sign the waiver, they take the responsibility off the restaurant if the restaurant makes the mistake even.
I'm okay with it.
But either way, yeah, I know you are. Because it's just easier that way, right? It's just easier just to sign the paper and have them go away. Just fine. Just, get away from me. Don't talk to me. Here's my signature.
I think it's also to blame that people would try to sue somebody if they did something like this. So that they shouldn't be able to.
Right. But the government should not be telling you or telling a business how they, have to cook their meat and whatever else to that extreme. Either way, trust me, Canada's a bunch of weenies.
It's not even medium rare. It's medium. I mean, that's like crazy. You know that burger is going to be good when they ask you how you want to cook. That's how I'm like, hell yeah.
You know what Meredith says every time?
Huh.
Well done.
Yeah, burn it.
But so in Canada, if you just order, I'll have a burger. Okay.
Yeah, it's well done when it comes
Always
out.
well done. You just know that.
But then again, I mean, it's Canada. Their burgers, big deal. You shouldn't be eating a burger in Canada anyway. Yeah. Because that's an American food. Just like you shouldn't be coming to U.S. America and eating that, what's it called?
Poutine.
Poutine. Because that's Canada food. And it looks disgusting.
It's got cheese curds and stuff in it.
And old brown ass gravy that just, ugh.
But that's the only Canadian food I can think of is poutine. I don't know what else they have.
I wouldn't even
They
have known
got
that.
bacon, Canadian bacon.
Yeah, Canadian bacon. There you go.
Canadian.
That would have been my go-to right there. All I know is
sucks,
I've been to
dude.
Canada once. It was awesome. The people were awesome. It was beautiful. Everything was great. We went to a restaurant. Everybody said it was good. It was all right. It wasn't great. It was, it was okay.
Yeah.
It's like, that was all right.
Could have used some Tony Chachere's.
Oh, man. Could have used a lot. Like, that was okay.
Now, imagine if you went in and ordered a cheeseburger and they brought it to you all burnt. Like, what the hell?
It was underwhelming, let's say. You know, from what you ask somebody at the hotel, like, hey, could you recommend like a place that's local that we could try like for a nice for a good dinner tonight? No, nothing real expensive or anything. And they told us this little restaurant, and we got there, it was packed. It was one of those like, well, okay, that was all right.
So I'm the only one in the room that's ever had to sign a waiver to eat something.
Yeah, I never have.
I've never had to do that.
Would they make you sign a waiver when you do those? What do they call it? Like the big 68
the
or
old
something,
96
or whatever.
thing.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, you do.
You have to sign a waiver to because you don't you have to eat that in a certain amount of time or just eat it.
It has to be in a certain amount of time, I think. Plus, I mean, when you're eating for quantity, it does have a greater risk of maybe causing problems, choking and whatnot. I remember when we had that contest where so who could gain the most weight during the show to win tickets to whatever concert it was. We had a woman that brought in a big old one of those things that they cook with on the internet all the time. Those one-time use roasting pans, and had it full of lasagna, and sat in there just shoveling lasagna so much that she hurled all over the bathroom on the walls. Like she barely made it in there, and she went to the bathroom and then just came back and started picking up her stuff and says, "I'm out." And so she walked out, and it wasn't until she had already vamoosed before we saw that she had thrown up all over the bathroom in there and everything.
And the people that had this were not happy about it. Right. I don't blame them.
But I don't even think they would allow us, legal, would allow us to do a contest like that now.
Oh, no.
They won't allow nothing no more.
No.
That day we had that guy bring that chicken up there, and we covered everything in the office with Visqueen and Ryan tried to catch a chicken in the office, and
Yeah.
They didn't let you do that?
no, we did it. We couldn't get away with that. Now they were furious because the chicken pooped and everything.
Yeah. And it pooped all over the hall. I think it was more than one chicken.
Might have been more than one. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was not good. It was. I mean, and they weren't wrong.
No.
They weren't really wrong when you look back
Yeah,
on
but
it.
I think the whole concept of it was to put Ryan in a small office and shut up a bunch of chickens in there with him and see what it sounded like. Well, they ended up kind of attacking him. And then they got freaked out and started pooping everywhere. And
I do that too.
you get freaked out in a small office and start pooping everywhere.
Yeah, it has the same effect on me.
It's the Ace and TJ Show with a little something extra. This is the Extra Funny Podcast.